Liver King is as natural as Gordon Ryan. That's from All Player 31. Listen, everybody, there's a lot of steroids in sports, but even more in Jiu-Jitsu than MMA. Even more in Jiu-Jitsu. And, when you get to the higher levels, almost all the competitors are on it. However, I find it very objectable when I see local tournaments and somebody's on it. The guy's in the blue belt division. He's on steroids. He's wrestling some young kid, and he's like crunching his head on the mat. It's like, how insecure are you? Like, you really need steroids to compete at this level? I understand when there's big money on the line, and even though I condone it, I don't think it's good, but I understand the pressure. I understand why guys cave and do it. Because they're dirt broke. They put their whole life on this one sport. And if they don't make it, guess what? Nobody cares. And what else do they have to fall back on? Nothing. So they yield, they bend under the pressure. And all of a sudden, they're eating the devil's lettuce. They're drinking. They're nibbling. They're choking down pills. And now all of a sudden, their career takes a boost. And that encourages his competitor, everybody. And it becomes a race to who can augment themselves chemically the most. And some flirt with death. Some flirt with they're shortening their lives. No doubt about this. No doubt about this. They look healthy, but they're not. They look healthy and they're not. And I'll tell you one thing. I always mistrust anybody's jiu-jitsu when they're on steroids. If I train with somebody and I know they're on steroids, a lot of guys will admit it. And I always tell people, it's none of my business. If somebody wants to do steroids, it's none of my business. However, if they ask me, should I do it? I always say no. I always put health first. Okay? Health first. And also, if you're on steroids, I can respect your jiu-jitsu. I can understand that you understand the moves and you move well. But I don't trust your jiu-jitsu. Why? Because how do I know what part of it is strength, chemical enhancement, and or is it your jiu-jitsu? I used to train once upon a time. I don't want to name names, but I used to train under a black belt that was admittedly on steroids. And his techniques wouldn't work for me. And every time he gave me advice, in the back of my mind, I would have a major doubt. Like I would seek knowledge elsewhere. Why? Because this one black belt couldn't get his moves to work when he was tired or he was wrestling a bigger guy. And I realized that he's using so much strength. He thinks his jiu-jitsu is good, but it's only good against guys who are natural, not augmented like him. Now, there are men who are on steroids and their technique is impeccable. Those guys are going to be very difficult to stop. Now, some people tell me, this is a very naive response, okay, in my opinion, incredibly naive. Some people tell me, Coach, taking steroids won't make you good at jiu-jitsu. And I say, okay, no, taking steroids doesn't make you good at jiu-jitsu. If you take somebody who doesn't train in jiu-jitsu and you give him steroids, guess what? He's not good at jiu-jitsu. However, they don't call them performing, enhancing. Go look at the dictionary. What is the word enhancing? And what is it enhancing? Performance. So the predicate is referring to the subject, which is performance. It's enhancing performance. It's a performance enhancing drug. Why do they call it that? Because if you perform jiu-jitsu daily, it'll enhance your performance in jiu-jitsu. It's that simple. Okay? So if you take steroids, you're not good at jiu-jitsu, but if you take steroids and you practice jiu-jitsu, it'll enhance the level of skill you acquire.